Hello YouTube modelers, welcome back to my channel. I want to thank all my viewers and subscribers for tuning in. So, I want to give you a status of my buddy Bill with Greg on my AMT 67 Supernatural Sport Sedan. But before that, let's do a mail call. Received the new shop card from my buddy Vinny. He went to a channel name change, pit stop scale model garage. I like his scale garage here with a whole lineup of Camaros from the late 60s to his modern day one, the gray one and the white one. I believe he owns a blue RS 1-to-1 Camaro. I think he's a big Camaro guy. So check his channel out if you haven't done so already. I'll include it in the description. So I finally got some color on the 67. It was molded in black. Spray can everything, all the minor parts. These I didn't even bother because they're hubs and behind the wheel no one's going to see it. But the chrome is gloss coated. So basically some parts I sprayed in flat black or gloss black, but some of them it was as simple as laying down a layer of dull coat or gloss coat, depending if I wanted a shine or I wanted to dull it down. So chrome is usually gloss coated. I did use Krylon, so it's not as thick as Rust-Oleum. So what happened was I started getting drip marks. So I had to touch up on these corners on the bumper. So because I ended up with a drip mark. That's the only thing. So I think I might have to switch back to Rust-Oleum for the clear. See, you see the corners. Anyway, you'll see when it's assembled. I also have an extra set of rally wheels, so I'm going to be using these. I know the show has these, but I'm going to do a switch. But pretty much dark gray frame, nutmeg interior. Here are all the parts. The body. Open up the trunk. Here are the hinges. Here is the trunk. Everything was spray can except for the body, hood, and trunk. That is semi-gloss black. I think at the time I was purchasing it, they didn't have X1, which is gloss black. So I had to settle for semi-gloss, or else I would have gotten a shinier body. Usually I use this Tamiya Dinner. This is the primer I used. White, so I can see it against the black. So I used the Tamiya Dinner for the primer, and then for this top coat, the Tamiya semi-gloss, I use Leveling Dinner. This has a stronger odor, so I only use this occasionally if no one's around, because it does have a stronger odor. It also takes a little longer to cure, because it takes like 2 or 3 days because it's still tacky. This one is good all around. It's low odor and it dries a lot faster, but this gets slightly better results. So this is where I am now. So here are all the extras I'm going to add in, like the wiring, seat belts. So I have to install that while I'm assembling it. Alright, the separate sub-assemblies are completed. Just want to show it to you before I make them all together. Get a better view of the area. Dashboard, they include decals and a clear lens over it, just like the real dash. Seatbelt. Body. I was using an old Molotow pen. The tip was kind of clogged, so I was pressing hard and I made some boo-boos. So I had to do some touch-up right above this line, as you can see. And then I went over it with it, so I had to do some touch-up. And this is the rolling chassis. If you can tell the wheels are not a perfect fit, it'll do with the gap. It's facing inward. Here we are at the final reveal of my 1967 Supernatural Chevy Impala Sport Sedan buddy build with Greg. So before I reveal, I just want to thank Greg for suggesting this buddy build. I had a lot of fun, and if it wasn't for him suggesting this buddy build, it would have been a long time before I got to this kit. But now that I'm done with it, I'm really happy that I got to the kit and that I built it when I did. One thing I just want to mention as well is that even though I'm using a Supernatural Chevy Impala, I did stick in a few of my personal touches. Because in the past, sometimes when I build TV or movie cars, people have noted in the comments how inaccurate it is or how I change things around. So sometimes I do change things around on purpose because either aesthetically for a small scale model it looks better, or because I just liked it a certain way. So don't rip me apart in the comments. There are a lot of inaccuracies in this car which we will go over. But anyway, thanks Greg for suggesting the buddy build. I had lots of fun. So let me dim the lights and then we'll do the final reveal. Here it is. It's all lit up. So I lit up the forefront headlights with SMDs, and I did use the box clear lenses, so it makes it look more realistic. And of course, the rear taillight as well. Now, it was as simple as sticking in some aluminum foil in the back to prevent light leakage or light loss, but I'm glad that a little bit peeks out because that way the trunk lights up, kind of like evil looking, doesn't it? It all started because AMT included that decal, and why would they include a decal for a kit that doesn't have a functioning trunk? So that's why I had to open it. So let me turn on the lights and we'll go over it. So here is the kit. We turn this light back to full power. Okay, so here's the trunk with the decal. Now, I know in the show the compartment to hold the weapons are in a divided tray with a flap that lifts up, but I just barely was able to fit this piece of cardboard with Lego minifigure weapons, which aren't really to scale, but it's better than having nothing, onto the back. Underneath there's a lot of wiring because since I use so many lights, I had to use more than one power source because it's a drain on the battery when I try to hook up all of them. So there's two of them in here, so it's quite a bit of stuff. I could just barely close the trunk. I mean, it's kind of like forcing it. So anyway, here's the trunk. It took me a while to open it up, but it all started with the decal that made me do it. Underneath the trunk is a little bit messy because I actually attempted 4 or 5 times with crazy glue, so the bottom is like a mess, the lid. But I made it so the trunk can actually slide forward and backwards as well as lifting up, because as you know, the thickness of this model is not to scale, so when you open it, the back does hit due to the thickness of the trunk lid. But I am glad that function-wise, I was able to get the trunk to lift and open. There is a weapons tray with the crucifix, axe, handgun, automatic rifle, a submachine gun, a hammer, and a knife. I didn't have any bottle because there should probably be some holy water as well. But I did put aluminum foil in the back to reflect some of the light back in through the lens, but it's one SMD per side. Now the wheels, the custom wheels are nice, but I like Chevrolet Rally wheels. Those are just ubiquitous for me as far as Chevrolet goes because they've used them on full size Camaros, Chevelles. I just really like the Chevrolet rally wheels. I've seen rally wheels where the center cap is more flush and more flat. These are more pronounced. They stick out a little bit more. I've seen them with trim rings, chrome, or no trim rings. But this kit is nice. I think I actually like this kit better than the two-door because this one, well, my release anyway, didn't have the outside mirrors, but this one comes with outside mirrors, spotlight, and of course bumper guards, which is a nice accessory to have. It also came with tie rods. So what I did was I did not glue the tie rods to each side. I left them to pivot like a functioning ball joint so that I can pose the wheels. So you can either pose them, right, like that, or you can just... So the tie rod is working, so you can pose them. I think this middle trim is not really to scale because I've seen some pictures and they're really not that thick, but anyway, I did it. So what I would have done different if I had to build this again was I would invest in more expensive Tamiya masking tape to get a cleaner line on the chrome trim, and then the Molotow pen, I should have changed the refill tip, because if the chrome doesn't flow evenly, you're not going to get a nice even chrome bead. And it made me press down on the pen harder, which led to a line that is not as clean on the passenger side. So I had to touch it up, so that is not that great, the touch up on top of the trim. So the black paint spray job airbrush came out good, but then, you know, as you're assembling it, you get like touch-ups that I have to do over the trim, and then I think I was using a scraper and it got away from me and I scratched a little bit on this over here. But overall, nice and shiny. I do use Tamiya polish to polish the car, and like car wax, you know, it dries to a white haze and then you have to wipe it off, so sometimes they get caught inside the crevices or the cracks, so you have to use a wooden toothpick to clean it up. But it helps that excuse me, underneath the car body is the molded black in kind of like a dull finish, so that the difference between gloss and dull is almost similar to block panel line accent, right? So you can see, you know, the door opening, the cracks and crevices. Other than that, it was a joy to put together. So let's take a look at the engine compartment. So aside from the wheels, also the interior, I put seat belts. Now on the show, I believe they're black seat belts, but for scale model contrast, I chose the tan to go with that nutmeg interior. And I pointed out before that it's nice that they have the clear glass part over the instrument dial, because that's how it is on a real car, right? So I guess the additional part with the over the instrument panel, the outside mirrors, drop lights, bumper guards, I actually like the 4-door model better than the 2-door. Or maybe because I just recently finished this 4-door and my modeling skills has improved since, I like the 4-door model. But very, very nice model to assemble. I also use gloss clear coat over the tires, because after I put the BF Goodrich decals, they keep coming off, so I had to clear coat it, which actually resembles when you armor all your tire when you're done cleaning it, right? So it's nice and shiny. But I have to say, the color black is good when you have like a lot of white or a lot of silver chrome finish to offset it against. But anyway, so here's the interior, but I've shown you this before in a previous video as a sub-assembly, so it's hard to see now, but So that's that. So let me show you the engine. The hood keeps coming off because there's really no hinge or anything. So that's the engine. It comes with heater hoses. So what I did was that I just added the battery cables. Red goes to starter, black goes to the grounded against the block. I wired it with the red distributors with the black boots. The master brake cylinder has brake lines that lead to nowhere. I just let it down underneath and tucked it between the frame and the chassis. So if this was a real car, you would press on the brakes and nothing would happen. What else? Can't really highlight the tubes and everything because they're black anyway. There goes the antifreeze additive for your windshield fluid. That's the washer fluid. I like that they provided an alternator bracket so it's not flying in midair. And that's pretty much it. A lot of times they tell you to paint things in silver, but sometimes I think silver is too shiny. So then I use steel for a more realistic look. So master brake cylinders, I try to paint the body gold and then the top lid steel or aluminum to give it a more realistic look. So that's the engine. You saw the interior, you saw the trunk. Let me show you underneath. I got colorful with underneath. I didn't want to use shiny silver this time, so I used a gloss gray for the chassis frame. There goes the brake lines that lead to nowhere. I just tucked it to go underneath. Red anti-sway bar. Blue AC Delco oil filter. That's the tie rod. I put a piece of plastic on top to prevent it from falling out, but it does work like a real tie rod. Exhaust. You could paint the pipe steel. I end up reversing it so the muffler is steel and the pipe is shiny silver. Typical blue shocks from AC Delco. So that's it. Painted the gas tank in silver this time. So that's it for this 67. So what I screwed up on as far as the paint job not being smooth or perfect, I think I made up for it as for in the electrical and in the detailing. So just take your time detailing this car. It is worth it. Like I said, I think I like the 4-door better than the 2-door model, but that's your personal preference. I will have stills at the end so you can see what the model looks like with the trunk lid closed. So thanks, Greg, for the buddy build. I had lots of fun. I'm glad I got to this kit. And thanks for watching.